And a woman that had COVID, and then she got the vaccine afterwards. After the first shot, she spent 5 days in the hospital. And after the second shot, she spent 3 days in the hospital. Isn't that weird?
So that's a free
Just
vaccine.
waiting for us.
What's that? I said that's an expensive free vaccine.
Yeah. All right, good evening. It is the September 15th, Sunbury, Ohio Council meeting. It is 7:30 p.m. Would you please join me in a moment of silent prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance? Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Joe St. John.
Here.
Damon Capel.
Here.
Greg Elliott.
Here.
Tim Gose is absent. Martin Fisher.
Here.
David Martin.
Here.
Cindy Cooper. Here. Present.
We did have a meeting on September 1st. The minutes are in your packet for review.
I'd like to make a motion on those minutes, please.
A motion by Ms. Cindy Cooper.
Second.
Second by Martin Fisher. Are there any edits? Comments? All right. Roll call.
Cindy Cooper.
Yes.
Martin Fisher.
Yes.
Dave Martin.
Yes.
Greg Elliott.
Yes.
Joe St. John.
Yes.
Damon Capel.
Yes.
6 yeas.
Right. We are on to the visitors section, and we're very thrilled to have Sheila Hiddleston here, Director of the Delaware County Health District. Thank you so much for coming this evening.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and staff. Sheila Hiddleston, your Health Commissioner. Good to see you all in person again. It's been quite a little while. I wish that I was coming with great news about COVID. Unfortunately, as you know, the numbers continue to rise, and Delaware County is not any different than anywhere else in Ohio. The one thing, though, that we are different in is 75% of our eligible population, so 12 and over, are fully vaccinated. And while there's a lot of controversy, I know right now around vaccinations and the idea that even if you're vaccinated, you can get COVID. And that is one fortunate now to have access to the Ohio maybe where those vaccination rates are still a little bit low. So we've been trying to have extra clinics out in those areas in order for to get those numbers up. I think right now we're still really trying to focus on those people that are just a little bit hesitant, maybe have a few more questions. We know that there are some people on the one end of the spectrum that no matter what we say, they're not going to get the vaccine, and that's okay. That's a decision between them and their family doctor and whatever they feel is best for their family. We really feel like that with the clinics that we've done, we've kind of been almost every place. That anybody that wanted one from us is already able to get one, but we are still trying to get to those few pockets that we need.
That infection rate that you talked about, that I forget the number.
6.54 per
Thank you.
100,000.
Thank you.
654 for one.
Yeah, okay. How many, where does that rank in the state? Is that pretty, I guess, is there a better county or are we, I don't know, top 5? Just curious, really.
Now, I can't tell you for the whole state because we just look
Okay.
at the surrounding counties
Gotcha.
around us. But I can give you that number.
I just get curious about these things. That's fine.
I think, it really does when you look at the numbers, and this is why I asked our team to put these numbers together. You can't say vaccines don't work, and we all know that when we first started into all of this, we really tried to get to that herd immunity. Well, the fact that we're 75% fully vaccinated and our rate is lower than some of our surrounding counties, that really does talk about herd immunity. The R0, which is the amount of people that you can infect, is pretty high for COVID, but once you're vaccinated, that number begins to decrease because, of course, if I'm vaccinated and you're vaccinated, then we're not going to spread it to as many people, or if it comes up against us, it gets stopped as opposed to us turning around and spreading it more.
One more question. Hospitalization rate, do we know what that looks like? for our county?
Yeah, it's really not good. So we're in Region 4, which is here in the Central Ohio region. We're Zone 2. I can tell you I get a report every morning. And this morning we had 9 intensive care unit beds in our region out of 698.
9 available?
9 available.
Do we?
Which that is
That's
the lowest
really
it has ever been throughout this whole pandemic. A lot of times we have tried at that 50, but every report I've received in the last week has just gone down. And I think people get a little hung up on that because when you look at a lot of statistics, they're like looking at well, how many other people in those beds are COVID patients, which is important because it talks about the severity of the disease. However, if my dad's having a heart attack, I don't care who's in those beds, I want him in a bed. And so I think we have to kind of keep that a little bit in perspective. There's a great public resource too from the Ohio Hospital Association. You can go on that website and pick Region 4, which is us in the middle, and actually look at the number of pediatric patients that are there, the number of them that have COVID, and all of those, I mean, if you're a number, you get some, you might like numbers.
Yeah.
It's really, really very interesting. And one of the little graphs that they show is how much of an increase that has been over the last few weeks. So 9 intensive care unit beds in our region is pretty scary.
Really scary.
So I got the next question then, death rates. So I just curious after hearing the hospitalization, are the death rates increasing or are we taking up more hospital beds because fewer people are dying and are ending up hospitalized as opposed to dying? I'm just curious. If we're going to talk cases and hospitalization, I'm curious how many are dying of it still.
If you just look at the numbers, it would certainly appear that that's the case. If you look at our specific numbers from May to July, let me go back up here to my hospitalization rate. So we had 59% of our people from May to July that were in the hospital were unvaccinated and 41% were vaccinated. Now that number has really shifted. Early on, that number was like 76% were unvaccinated to the 24 that were. So that number has shifted a little bit. The further out we get from a lot of those vaccine dates, we know the efficacy is going to drop down a little bit. To your specific question, I don't know if I have that number right here in front of me, but I can get that number for you.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
But we are seeing even less hospitalizations, but we are seeing more severe disease with the hospitalizations. The other thing people do ask a lot about is this idea of booster. So the advisory committee for immunization practices, which we in public health call ACIP or ACIP, they are the group that actually will decide whether a booster is necessary. What's already been decided is if you've got Moderna or Pfizer, so those are the mRNA vaccines. If you are immunocompromised, you should receive a 3rd dose, and you can get that 28 days after your 2nd dose. And so if you're immunocompromised, you should already get that, and that's already being recommended. Still a lot of discussion going on about whether the rest of us will need a booster. In fact, as I was walking out the door tonight, I heard on the national news, a doctor was talking about the boosters that they may have made some decisions.
I know we've heard a lot about COVID in the schools and there's a higher percentage of kids. Just 6 out of 1,000. I don't think we have 1,000 in our high school right now. I think it's something like 800 or so.
I might ask about the school.
Thank you.
You and I have both gotten a couple of emails today. So I can tell you that as of our report Sunday night, we had 18 cases. So people with COVID, staff and students within our school, Big Walnut District. We are using their 2021 census because we don't have their 2022 census yet. So they have 4,491. They probably have a little bit more now, but this was the end of last year. Students and staff. So we have 18 cases. Now with those 18 cases, we have 99 people. So those 18 people plus the rest that are actually excluded as of tonight. So those 99 kids and staff cannot go to school tomorrow because they're either on isolation or quarantine. So that's about 2.2% of their population that are being excluded. Now, we've been asked a lot, and I know the mayor's seen this too, why am I not mandating vaccines for all of the school districts in Ohio? Some of you may know that Senate Bill 22 passed over the summer, which took that authority away from the local health district. So I can't do a blanket masking order, but if we start to see outbreaks within the school, we will mandate masks within that particular school. So let's say if we started to see an outbreak at one of the elementary schools, we would either mandate masks for that classroom for a 2-week period, which is the incubation period. We might do it for the grade if the kids are changing classes. We could do it for the whole building. It would be very unlikely, unless we saw multiple outbreaks, that we would do it for the entire district. So what Senate Bill 22 did is it says I can't do any blanket orders anymore, but I can always do orders in response to the disease. And so there is a lot of controversy, as you all know. I'm not telling you anything you don't know about to mask or not to mask and who should have that authority. But if we start to see an outbreak in the school, we will require masks and or exclude children who cannot mask. Now, if you're vaccinated, there's a little bit of, you can quarantine within the classroom. But so far, at the moment, we're not happy with the numbers. They continue to go up. So last Sunday night was 8 cases. This Sunday night it was 18. So those cases do continue to go up. But we're not seeing unrelated outbreaks. That's how we would identify that. If we start to see those unrelated outbreaks within a classroom or within a grade, then that would be an outbreak into implement some medication.
So your professional opinion, should our students in the school wear masks? Yes or no?
So our recommendation as your health district, because our community spread is so high, we are strongly recommending that all persons who can wear a mask indoors if they're within 6 feet. Why not be far enough away? But we are recommending that all persons wear a mask at this time, and that's what we share with all of the students.
Not to put you on the spot, there's a one thing that I think Big Walnut's done a really good job is listen to all sides, and I feel bad for their school board right now. Like I've talked to many of them, they're just getting beat up on both sides. I mean, equal amount of emails on both. But one thing that I've heard from both community members and staff and different folks like neighbors, they're saying, isn't there a natural immunity component to this? And I'm sure you've heard this as well. There's mask, there's vaccine, but one thing I talked to my doctor about was just the significant uptick in out of seasonality of RSV, and the expected flu is expected to be kind of worse than it definitely was last year, because it was almost non-existent because everybody was masking. So I guess from the health district's perspective, when they're, what's this? Have you figured it all out yet?
So, I think that is the hard thing to share with the city back here. I've never felt more between the rock and the hard place my entire career, and I'm almost at the end of my career. I think that this is a very passionate, everybody is very passionate about this. We don't have very many people that are neutral. And I'm getting all the emails from the districts, and I do feel for the school boards as well, because they really are in a difficult position. Here's what I try to tell parents. The state guidance and the CDC guidance has been very structured around in school and how important it is for these kids to be in school. And if you put a mask on your child, with very rare exception, they're going to be able to stay in school. So yes, it's your choice as a parent. Whether you put a mask on your child or not is 100% your choice. But if you want your child to stay in school, that's one thing you can do to get them further there. And I think that that's the decision that everybody needs to make. You're always trying to talk about it from your perspective and then you move outwards. So you look at the health of yourself, the health of your family, the health of those people that you come into contact the most. And I'm pretty healthy. I stand here before you. I'm a little overweight, but I don't have diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, none of those things. But I have 3 little grandchildren. That's why I wear the mask. And I'm vaccinated, but I wear it because I don't want to take any chances. I have wonderful granddaughter, quite more than 1 year. She just finished chemotherapy. She just turned 1 year old. I'm going to see her on Saturday. There is no way I'm walking around anywhere without my mask on. because I don't want to take a chance of getting her anything. She's officially in remission, but, you know, that's the key. It takes a long time for the body to go there. So that's what I think everyone needs to ask themselves. And our parents who don't want their child in a mask, that is their choice. But they just have to understand that if they come in contact with someone, I'm not going to have any choice but to make that quarantine at home. If they have a mask on, like I said, a very rare exception, they're going to be allowed to quarantine in class.
We're gonna be praying for your granddaughter. That's pretty,
But
we're gonna be praying for your granddaughter. That's pretty awesome that,
yes, it is. She,
Yeah.
long story, but yes, so she just finished chemotherapy at the end of June. They officially declared her in remission. And then in 30 days, they'll do all of that again. And hopefully she'll be able to head down to kind of the softball size team. It's a really long story. We're very thankful and so thankful how all the person.
Talk about a hard year. Yeah.
Yeah.
The good Lord taking care of her.
That's for sure. Right.
That's why we're.
Yeah. I did want to say thank you for meeting with me and Steve, and then I took you up on your offer to speak to several of your board members. They were so accommodating and shared, you know, openly. I met with some folks who had been on the board for 20 years and some who were more recent, but thank you so much for affording me that opportunity.
We look forward to having your, do an orientation. You think I talked a lot to you today. It's not just me, it's also my team.
That's great.
Please let me know if there's anything.
Okay. Any other questions for Sheila? Thank you so much.
Thanks for being here.
All right, we're on to committee reports, and we're going to go with David Martin.
I don't have a committee report tonight.
This is Cindy Cooper,
Nothing tonight, sir.
Mr. Mark Fisher,
Nothing for me.
David Kaplan,
Nothing here.
Mr. Greg
Nothing.
Elliott. We had a finance committee meeting tonight. Several of the items are on our agenda tonight, and we'll just wait to hear at that point. We also, is this a good time to address the approval to proceed? I have no idea how we're going to word this, so can somebody help me with some language, Steve or Dave or Dave? And Dave Bream, if you don't know what we're talking about, Dave Parkinson, can you help us?
Like what?
Mr. Mayor, I think you simply need a motion authorizing the administrator to execute our proposals for engineering services for the 3 investing in Ohio's future wastewater treatment plant grant projects.
Can somebody just fill me in briefly? I know you talked about it in finance. Steve mentioned to me something about a big number and you were going to talk about it in finance. That's really all I know. So
That's all you need to know. No.
I'll try to. We asked CT to submit submit projects, design ideas to Delaware County to be aggregated and scored to potentially participate in the Investing in Ohio grants, which is a $250 million program available to all 88 counties for infrastructure work. We were very pleased to find out that we had 3 of the top 10 projects in all of Delaware County. One is nearing the end of design, potentially would be a construction grant, and the other 2 rank lower, but are in the design. We would need to win the grant for this to authorize CT to start working on the design.
Well, okay, so we wrote 3 proposals. But we're submitting a grant application and so we wrote a proposal to inspect the wastewater treatment plant improvements project for $168,000. We wrote a proposal to do design work for the interceptor sewer extension for about $290,000. But we're going to ask for a grant for $250,000. So that's a $40,000 local match.
Okay.
We wrote a,
Did the first one have a local match to
Well,
168?
the 168 will be combined with 2.4 million for construction for a $2.6 million total project. And Sunbury has committed to 10% of that. So there'll be a local match of about $257,000 for that project. And then the last one was the design of the Little Walnut Creek lift station and Force Main. That was a $441,000 proposal. We get a $250,000 grant, so there's a $191,000 local share. So the three proposals, $168,000 for inspection, $290,000 for design, and $441,000 for design, have been presented to Mr. Piles for his signature accepting the proposal, because the grant applications need an engineering agreement submitted with the application. There is a caveat in all three of them that we will not begin work until so directed, or the grant is awarded. So we can't begin. The proposal itself doesn't provide us to begin work until those triggers have been reached.
And when is the grant deadline? The application?
There is no deadline, but it's first come, first served. So we'd like to submit it this week.
As a part of the grant, are they committing to, is that part of the scoring, or are they committing to do the project? In other words, if you submit.
So there's no commitment to do the project.
So they still have to authorize the project.
Yes.
In that case, you can do a motion and a vote to have him submit the materials. What I wanted to make sure was some of these grants, you've got to already commit that you're going to move forward with the project. These are some big numbers that you'd be spending. So we would need legislation if you were committing to spend it. Obviously it looks like these are really significant grants. I mean, the local match is very low on all of these. It looks like.
Well, except for the lift station, but there's a lot of work involved in that lift station.
Which one is the list?
The last one. Yeah.
191
Yeah.
out of
441.
441. Well, it's still a big number. I mean, we'd like that in the streets every year if we could get it.
I'm really focused on the first one, 2.5 million, we pay 168.
Yeah.
Come on. 2.3 million grant, let's go.
What we're looking to do is authorizing him to submit finalized grant applications contingent upon your approval of the expenditures should the grant be awarded.
But they're also authorizing Steve to sign those proposals as accepting them so that we can submit an executed agreement.
It's accepting the proposals, but the proposals are contingent upon us doing the project.
And issuing a notice to proceed.
So then that's fine.
There is an offering.
Yeah.
Or an on-ramp.
We agree, this is what we would do, assuming we get the grant and assuming we do the project.
Yes.
Yes.
We told Steve we trust him, but he just thought we should maybe dot the I on this one.
A lot of money.
Good job, Steve.
So would it be appropriate to have that motion right now?
Yes, sir.
So I'll make a motion for what Mr. Green just said.
We got a motion by David Martin.
I'll second.
On what Mr. Green just said, second on what Mr. Green just said. Discussion? Roll call?
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Craig Elliott,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
Martin Fisher,
Yes.
Joe St. John,
Yes.
David Campbell,
Yes.
6 yeas.
That's all we have for committee reports. Police report, I'll be giving that. I just wanted to say, again, thank you to the chief, deputy chief, the hospitality of the Genoa Township Police Department for allowing us to tour their facility. We did a very detailed walkthrough of the facility. Great partners. So happy to meet all those guys. I want to thank Greg Elliott and Steve Piles for joining me. We're really trying to look into the future in terms of municipal facilities and the needs, and wanted to get a baseline of what a building like that costs and what you get for that amount of money. So very helpful, very thankful. Also want to say thank you very much to the entire team that supported the 9/11 event. We had a tremendous police presence, but also first responders, Delaware County. There were fire departments from all over, not just Delaware County. And it was a great event, but thank you for the police for making it happen, giving safe passage to all the Gold Star families. A+ all the way around. Administrator report.
So my report was in your packet. I'll be happy to answer any questions that it may prompt. I did want to add tomorrow or possibly Friday, I'll be meeting with AEP on our sinkhole. They'll be telling us how to do the conduit there safely so that we can get a new stretch of pipe in there. Had some good conversations with AEP, kind of developing a network between their external affairs people and then down into some of the operational people. That's, an investment in the future. Found we didn't really have a good conduit for these kind of operational issues. So glad with that. We've made some progress on things. Unfortunately, we have seen some COVID in our workforce, and those folks are home. We do have some rapid tests that we're using with our employees, and if somebody's really in need of a rapid test, so we could probably find one for someone. And I think at the next meeting, I should have the results of the fall tree planting, what that's going to cost, and we'll have the hopefully the contract in place for Facemire. And as I said, we've closed on the South Columbus Street property, and had good communications with our refuse hauler, kind of doing, again, creating a relationship with them. And I'll answer any other questions you might have.
How's the work going on Hawthorne Court? I think they were.
That's a Delco project.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Hey, just one thing, the date is, I think, incorrect on your,
9/1.
Yeah. so
Yeah.
that's, I kept looking for it, and I was like, oh,
Yeah, me too.
date's wrong.
That's when you take
That's when we
one
did-
and
we had the
try
last
to
one.
adapt it.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll remember that.
We've already got a document reviewer.
I'm sorry,
Stay in your lane.
I'll stand down, apologies.
What's going on? Has Facemire started on the trail around the reservoirs? Are they working up there yet?
They've done the grubbing, and I think they're working on elements of it at this point.
I think they're working on the concrete repairs for the overflow structures. They don't want that contractor driving his equipment on their brand new trail before to do the work. So it's unfortunately a sequential thing right now, because you need to be on those levees in order to do the work, and he doesn't want to put his trail down and have his subs out there ruining it. So
Yeah.
it's been a little slower than we had hoped it would be, but there's still a lot of good weather between now and Thanksgiving, and we expect it all to be done before Thanksgiving.
Any other questions for Mr. Piles? Good deal. Steve, thanks a lot for all your work. You're a busy man. Really appreciate it. All right, we're on to the engineer's report.
Thank you. I uploaded my report to the OneDrive. I believe it was Monday or maybe Tuesday morning. Just hitting some of the highlights. The Phase 2 Fallen Heroes Trail pre-con meeting has finally been scheduled. That's our favorite contractor, Mr. Facemire, who is busy in a number of places in town at the moment. So he is getting ready to mobilize and take on that project. That's a pretty small project, and he'll have that done by Thanksgiving as well. We continue to work on the Phase 3 Fallen Heroes. It's a design project anticipating an early bid in early 2022. The facility plan update and the wastewater treatment plant upgrades projects are being wrapped up this week, and we'll get documents submitted to you for your review as soon as possible. We discussed the Investing in Ohio's Future grant applications. We'll get those submitted tomorrow. We're working on the Preservation Parks, Delaware County, their Community Trail Improvement Grant application. It's due October 1st. municipal building space study awaits your feedback, and then Mike Anderson will finalize that report.
Apologize I didn't include you on the response. I did provide feedback.
That's fine. That's good. And he'll wrap that up and begin discussions on whatever's next. We are working on the high school TIS roadway improvements programming that council asked for. We're collecting some information and getting our thoughts together, and we'll be presenting something to you shortly. We completed our work with Bauman Street drainage issue. We got the survey done, found something we didn't expect to find, and put together a little sketch, provided it to the administrator and to the street superintendent. They are running with it. They have a solution that they're going to implement, and looking forward to finally getting that little mess fixed up. Price Ponds. We had a couple small comments on the TIS, so that is about to be wrapped up. They submitted their sewer plans and they submitted their street plans. So we got a lot of review work going on with Price Ponds at the moment. Omnico recently submitted an application for some variances and for a major site plan approval that'll be going to Planning and Zoning Commission, I believe this month and maybe next month as well. Magnolia Park just submitted something today on lot splits. So they were quiet for months, and now it looks like they're rekindling and getting ready to go. You may recall that as part of their development, they were going to give the schools a small wedge of property that was out front that's of no value to them, and they were going to sell Mr. Faber, a neighbor, half an acre of ground, and that was all to get the total acres within our R2 requirement for development.
Which one is that? I'm sorry.
Magnolia Park.
Between Sunbury Mills Section 6 and the middle school.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Then the ongoing construction stuff, the car wash continues. The Miller Drive office building is waiting for tenants. Rolling Hills continues. The sewer continues. The electric relocation, the pipe installation is supposed to be this week. And then they're trying to coordinate with AEP to pull the conductors through the conduits and then getting a date for the reconnection. I am pressing our inspectors to get a date firm for that reconnection so we know exactly when the power will be out. We have a generator on standby at the lift station to keep it running so we won't have any sewer backup issues. But we want to be able to get a notice out to all the residents and businesses that might be affected by this of what the extent of the power outage will be, when it will start, how long we expect it to be, so that they can plan accordingly. And I'd like to get that out before the day before the thing. And so I'm really pushing in to make sure that we get ample notice and that they don't surprise us with this. The reservoirs continues. The 2021 street program is going to start here in a week or two. And Newman Roofing continues. And with that, I'll try to answer any questions.
So they're going to lose power for the Little Walnut Creek interceptor, that the community it serves?
Yeah, it's the lift station.
Yeah.
So without getting too into the weeds, there's the electric line that serves that subdivision right there. It might even be the subdivision.
Sunbury Meadows, it's right down the street from you.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's yours. That's the reason he's talking about.
That's why I'm so concerned.
Yeah, I said, hey, make sure Damon and Greg, there's a lot of people working from home in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
We had this discussion the other day.
My wife, she wouldn't forgive me if she didn't get warning.
Right. We're gonna get notice. We're gonna figure it out. But Mr. Parkinson can talk about why it's gonna go out as opposed to, running a duplicate line and then cut in the middle. I don't know all that, but you can.
No, that's exactly right. My expectation is they can do everything, get everything ready, turn the power off, make the connection, they're done, right? And if it's an hour for each connection, it's 2 hours.
2 hours. Yep.
I'd like to think it's 2 hours.
The way this project's going,
It's not going to be 2
we're
hours.
gonna put out some notice that,
And-
hey,
Yeah, a whole day.
And we have a lot of good experience with AEP, so.
Might be a good idea to coordinate with the library or even the schools, anybody where they have Wi-Fi and a working environment available for people that do need to not have 2 hours of downtime on that particular day, provide them resources and opportunities where they can relocate temporarily that are local.
Thank you. Any other comments for Mr. Parkinson? All right. We're under resolutions, no third readings, no second readings. We do have a first reading, resolution 2021.15, a resolution appointing a representative to the Delaware General Health District Board of Health and declaring an emergency.
Are we, well, question, are we officially a city?
We're not officially a city. Well, you know what? I think the letter's in the mail. It was supposed to be generated today. I just haven't got the letter. I go back, the way that it goes is the Secretary of State communicates a letter to the mayor of the city and he gets it. I'm just waiting on the Pony Express to drop it off.
They say you can't like text you or something like, hey, congrats.
Thumbs up.
I mean, everybody else in the state has reached out to me and said congratulations. I mean, Senator Portman last weekend was like, congratulations on city stats. I'm like, just wait on that one letter.
Do that letter.
I actually was going to call down there tomorrow.
So if you never open the letter, does that mean we're never a city?
The village of Sunbury?
Question mark? So, but seriously, can we vote on this?
We can approve it
Okay.
as a pre-measure. I mean,
Yeah, the reason we put the emergency was they do have a meeting on the 28th. To the extent we received the letter, we want to have a representative there to represent us at the meeting. So that's the thought process behind it.
Health District has quite a bit going on. I'm sure they could use another hand. Any questions on this one?
So can I make a motion to approve contingent upon us becoming a city?
Sure. Do you want to make a motion to suspend the rules contingent?
Oh, motion to suspend the rules contingent upon us.
Got a motion by Greg Elliott,
Second.
second by, I'll give it to Martin Fisher. Discussion.
I guess we're agreeing to do it, but we don't have a name attached to it.
There's a name.
We do, it's in there.
Not in the reading.
Council now wishes to appoint
It's in
Tommy.
the language.
Oh, okay. I didn't read all that.
It's in section 1.
Okay.
Second whereas.
All right, that's my comment.
All right, roll call.
Greg Elliott,
Yes.
Damon Capel,
Yes.
Joe St. John,
Yes.
Martin Fisher,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
David Martin,
Yes,
Jays.
Motion on the emergency.
Second.
Motion by Greg, second by Martin Fisher. Discussion. Roll call.
Greg Elliott,
Yes.
Martin Fisher,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
yes,
Joe St. John,
Yes.
Damon Capel,
Yes.
6 yeas.
Motion on resolution 2021.14 contingent upon us becoming a city.
Second.
But we can't.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. He cannot start to serve until we have a valid appointment. We don't have a valid appointment until we're a city.
Okay.
Right now, we're represented through the health district because we're not a city. We're in the county. We won't have that seat available. So it's more or less in there automatically.
Right.
You know, we have a representative ready to go, but until we're a city, we don't have a seat on that board.
Makes sense. So I'll remove the contingency.
Second. I'll second that.
Motion by Mr. Elliott, second by Martin Fisher. Discussion. Roll call.
Greg Elliott,
Yes.
Martin Fisher,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
yes,
Joe St. John,
Yes.
Damon Capel,
Yes.
6 yeas.
All right, we're on to ordinances. No third readings. We have a second reading, ordinance 2021.44, an ordinance providing for increased compensation for elected officials. We have first reading, ordinance 2021.47, an ordinance amending ordinance 99, that's 1999, Gregory Elliott. 99034, modifying the spending authority of the mayor. We have ordinance 2021.48, an ordinance amending ordinance 2006-06, modifying the authority of the village administrator. And we have ordinance number 2021.01, third amended, an ordinance amending the 2021 annual appropriations and declaring an emergency. This one, we're not going to do as an emergency. We're not going to suspend the rules. There may even be an edit. Do we have a clarifying question on how to edit the language in this?
That if we edit the amounts at a second reading, then we have to modify the ordinance. Or can we just change and continue with the second reading on?
I see. So you're asking, could you change the amounts that you're modifying to on a second or third reading?
Either that, or can we eliminate a portion of the detail in the ordinance? This is like Fallen Heroes Trail, X dollar amount. Can we eliminate that altogether?
Which one?
2021.01.
Okay, the third amendment annual appropriation. I think you're talking about the spending limits one.
They want to get rid of it.
Oh.
And not restart the reading.
Yes, you can amend the language in ordinance, once you are in your reading process.
So we're good then?
Yep.
Okay.
So we did a first reading. Actually. Yep, already did that. We're on new and unfinished business. Mr. Gregory Elliott,
Nothing for me.
Mr. David Capel.
Nothing
Mr.
here.
Martin Fisher.
Nothing
Ms. Cindy Cooper.
Nothing tonight.
Mr. Dave Martin.
Nothing on Halloween?
No. That's messed up.
Are we having a meeting on September 29th?
That's
Do we need a meeting on September 29th is the question.
That's a couple items down on the agenda.
Well, you asked me and I had anything and I'm asking you a question.
Jump the gun on me. All right,
I'm sorry.
no, it's okay. I'm actually not going to be available to be here if you choose to have a meeting. Do you choose to have a meeting, or would you like to cancel that meeting? I don't believe staff, I asked staff and they said they would prefer to cancel unless you had something to cover.
second that.
Okay?
Yeah. Freddie cancel.
Okay, we've got a first by Martin Fisher, a second by Greg Elliott. Discussion? Roll call?
Greg Elliott,
Yes.
Joe St. John.
Yes.
Damon Capel,
Yes.
Martin Fisher,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper.
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
6 yeas.
Meeting is canceled. Any other new or unfinished business? No. All right, we're on the purchase order. I don't have any new or unfinished business either. Purchase order 34982, A&A Safety Radar Signs, 6790.
Motion to approve.
We've got the final amount.
I was gonna say, I thought we already
I
approved
thought we
this.
approved it.
Approved it, but we didn't have the purchase order number and everything, and I'm just dotting the I, crossing the T, and
This is
just.
making
I was
us
gonna
all
say, I
over.
remember talking about it.
I was
We
gonna say,
talked about it, but I didn't have the exact amount. I didn't have a vendor, and we're just cleaning up a.
The funds are already appropriated and approved, right?
But, yeah.
He just gave us some examples of how much this time would cost and how many people it took to set it up and that kind of stuff. He was introducing it, but we didn't vote on it last time.
We didn't
Okay.
clean it up.
Motion by Damon Capel and a second by, was it Mr. Elliott?
I'll second.
Second by Martin Fisher. I'm sorry, I heard it over here, but it was over here. Discussion. Roll call.
Damon Capel,
Yes.
Martin Fisher,
Yes.
Joe St. John.
Yes.
Greg Elliott,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
David Martin.
Yes.
Got purchase order 34996, CT Consultants rolling. It says rolling construction inspection, which made me think that it's some sort of rolling credit line. It's not, it's Rolling Hills inspections, because I read the PO and I read all the detail. Are you proud of me? Thank you. 11,955.59.
Mr. Mayor?
To do inspections at the Rolling Hill construction site? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's full-time inspection. I would remind the council that this is pass-through money.
This is what money?
Pass through, the developer pays us, we pay CT.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Martin Fisher,
I'll second reimbursement.
second
All the time.
by Greg Elliott. Discussion? Roll call?
Fisher,
Yes.
Greg Elliott.
Yes.
Joe St. John,
Yes.
Damon Capel,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
David Martin,
Yes.
6 yeas.
We give our paid professionals last opportunity. Anything you want to cover during this meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
We got a motion to adjourn by David Martin. I don't think he hit the period on his sentence yet when he said he didn't. Second by Damon Capel. Discussion? Roll call. Get ready to hit the leave meeting button.
David Martin,
Yes.
Damon Capel.
Yes.
Joe St. John.
Yes.
Greg Elliott.
Yes.
Martin Fisher.
Yes.
Cindy Cooper.
Yes.
Rick Shays.
Thanks, everyone.
Oh, yes.